Hey, beautiful people. I am back and I'm so excited to talk to you today because I want to talk a little bit about regret. So, some of you may know that I just turned 45 not too long ago. Yay! And there is a lot of reasons to want to feel regret at almost any age because let's be honest, as humans, no matter what age you're at, there are going to be some things that you're like, ooh, I wish I hadn't have did that. Or it would have been nice if I would have made another choice. But one thing that I actually feel really good about at this age is that I decided that I am really okay with, not even okay, I'm actually really feeling good about the choices that I made in my life. And I want to talk a little bit about how we can really get back to neutral with how we feel about our choices, regardless of where we currently are in our life. And let me explain. I actually was listening to a sermon that was really good. And in this sermon, there was, just this message about regret. And the message about regret really made me think about how a lot of times regret can keep us from really moving forward in our life and getting into the things that we know that we feel called to do, but we're feeling like it's too late, or oh, things were better before, they're not going to be as good as they are now. And if we allow that voice of regret or even resenting our decisions and all of that, it can turn into bitterness. And so I really want to address how we can release regret. Release regret so that we can move all this stuff out of the way and really move into what we know God has called us to do at this part of our life, whatever part of that life you are right now. Because if you don't know by now, I love working with powerhouse women that have done amazing things already, but you know that there's another chapter of your amazement that you have been craving to do, you have been desiring to do, and it doesn't have to be after the kids are grown, or it doesn't have to be after you retire, or it doesn't have to be when everything settles down on my new promotion, that's when I'm going to do it. You actually can decide that you can do it in some form right now. And so I want to help you not feel like it's too late or the boat has passed on that. There is no reason why there is not a possibility, not an option for you to do the thing that you desire to do. And if you are feeling like that right now, it might be because you still have regret sitting in you, regret or shame or guilt for not having taken a chance, taken a leap at some other time in your life. And I want to help release that. All right. And so the way that we can release regret is really just admitting that we feel regretful about a decision. And so sometimes we can find that we feel regretful about a decision because of our hesitation of dealing with it in some form or fashion. And what I mean by that is we might procrastinate on revisiting that area of our life or that subject matter. And so I want to give you a really vulnerable example that I actually shared in a post not too long ago because it was around Mother's Day. And so I'm 45. I do have a child that she's a grown child. She actually was in my dance company when she was a teenager, and she started living with me when she was around 17. And so she calls me her madre, and I call her my daughter. So she is about 10. We were trying to remember how old we were when we both changed ages. But she's about 12 years younger than me. And so, anyway, we're more like sisters, so to speak. And with that being said, I always had a desire to have children. I've always wanted to do that in the context of marriage, though. And so I am unmarried. And so there was a part of me about 2 years ago that didn't know I had some regrets for not having been married or had children in my 40s yet. And so I was actually at the doctor's office, you all. And while I was at the doctor's office, doctors ask questions that they're supposed to ask. My doctor was like, so, do you want to have children? And she wasn't asking it in a condescending way. I love my doctor. So she was actually asking me in a very just routine way, right? And you all, who knew? I started bawling. I was like, I don't and she was like, and she was so patient with me. I appreciate her so much. She was like, are you okay? Is everything fine? I was like, no, everything is fine. She's like, no, I just want to ask because that'll just help us know, like, okay, if you still desire to have children, what are some things that we want to do? Like, these are the options for you. She was like, it's just a real question. And, I totally understood, but totally emotionally was like all the way off. Why? Because I did not really deal with how there were like some inside regrets or inside bitterness about being at this place in my life that back then, this is a little while ago, and not have had those desires, fulfilled yet. And so I had to, so something like this might have happened to you maybe, where you didn't even know something was bothering you. It's like, oh snap, I didn't even know this was bothering me. You didn't even know something was bothering you because, you've been piling it, you've been suppressing it. And so once I realized like, yo, okay, this is bothering me, I should deal with this. And so I did, I journaled, I prayed, I talked to a therapist because I believe in all the things. It's like, I need Jesus and a therapist. In my journal, I talked to some friends and just really came to a really good place because I do love the life that I created. I've been able to pour into so many people because of the work that I've done and been poured into. I have deep, amazing relationships in my life. And so I don't have regrets about how I have lived my life. What I did get to do, and this is what I'm going to challenge you to do, it is some deep work, you all, is to really mourn the decisions that you've made before or did not make up to this point. And so or mourn the life that you thought you were going to have. That might be a better prompt for you. Whatever resonates with you, if it's like more in the decisions or more in the life you thought you were going to have. I actually got this, if I remember the book, I got to remember this book because it was a book that I read probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And it's like, don't you hate when this happens? Hopefully I'll remember the book by the time, I publish this video. So, and if I do, I'll put it on the screen or I'll put it in the description. So in this book, it was so good because it was actually an activity from the book that she was talking about, like she had to like mourn the life that she thought she was going to have at whatever age she was when she was, writing this book. And it was so helpful to me because sometimes we don't see grief as anything other than someone passing away, when in a lot of ways we are grieving so many different areas of our life. We might be grieving a job, we might be grieving a child, whether we've had a child or not, or we've had a child and lost. We might be grieving, marriages, especially if we've been in relationships that haven't gone well. We might be grieving decisions there. We can be grieving so many different things, and we don't give ourselves the opportunity to actually grieve that situation and really allow ourselves to get to a place of acceptance and start healing from that. So I did a lot of work. This was like 2 years ago. So I've done a lot of work since then and gotten to a really good place because, look, I always know I've gotten to a place when I can talk about it and I don't start bawling. But I feel like this is what is very helpful to like moving on, because now I get to say, okay, well, what do I desire to create now? Because I'm not 30 anymore, I'm not 20 anymore, like those times in my life isn't there anymore, and that's okay. So I get to create, well, what do you want to create now? Because God has created us to be creators, like we get to create. So many of us as human beings, so many things get created all the time. The phone that we're looking at, or the one I'm looking at right now, someone created it. Like God has given us the power to create. And so we can create, we can imagine what we desire, and we can get super focused and super 10 toes down in faith that it is possible. And so I'm like, you know what? That's what I desire to create right now. And so I want you to spend some time journaling, or, lock yourself up in a room and start, recording on your phone or whatever, transcribe. And I want you to really consider, what is it that you need to mourn? What is it that you need to grieve right now? Is it a past decision? I want you to do this because in order to get your life, in order to do what future her is called to do, you have to let go of some things. And it's great to find out and really do that work of letting it go, so you can move forward. And I am not a therapist, so I like to say that, but if you need therapy, I have used therapy. I think it's amazing. I would highly recommend that you do that, especially if you dealt with some like traumatic things. This would not be the platform to help you do that specifically. I would highly recommend going to a licensed therapist. I am a coach though, and I have been trained in a lot of work around neuroscience as well as habit forming and habit changing. And so with that being said, this is really good if you've done some of that healing work that someone that is in psychotherapy or someone that is in psychology or therapy, specifically a clinician, could help you really move through. And I have had clients before that have had really traumatic situations, and I'm like, I want to work with you, but I also really highly recommend that you do this work with me as well as a therapist. And so I wanted to shout that out because I have friends that are therapists. I've used therapy, and I want to highly recommend that is a great thing that you can do on next to coaching. Highly recommend. All right. So I want you to take some time to do that. It is going to be some deep work, but I want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so glad that I did it, because if I didn't actually like take the time to recognize like that was like a loss, like that time in my life for something that I suppressed, because it's not that it wasn't something that was possible. I think I suppressed wanting those things for whatever reason, right? And so because of that, I had to really give myself, like forgive myself for suppressing it and not acknowledging that it was something that I still desired, and being able to be like, okay, God, help me see what it would look like on this side of life, right? And that's where the beauty comes in. All right, so if you like this video, go ahead and like, comment, share, all the things. Let me know if there's some other things you want me to talk about. And I look forward to seeing you. If you are digging this and you're like, oh, Desiree, I really want to do this Future Her series, will you jump on my mailing list, DesireeCocroft.com, and you will find out when it happens. It will be coming out soon, but I definitely want you to be on my list so you'll be the first person to know when it comes out. Until the next time, bye. Go and be great.